Hello, I'm John and I'm here at the Schiffer Book Farm. Today I'm going to show you a book that is kind of new but also kind of not. It is a second edition of The Stand by Stephen Skinner. The subtitle reads, The Final Flight of Lieutenant Frank Luke Jr. Frank Luke was a fighter pilot who was killed during the First World War. He was the first American airman to be awarded the Medal of Honor. Frank Luke was the leading American ace when he was killed. He was only 21 and he'd only been in combat for about 1 month. What I want to do is turn around the camera and show you some of the differences between this second edition and the first edition. The first edition of The Stand was published in 2008. It is a 9x12 hardcover book with a jacket, and it has glossy coated paper inside. The book is priced at $69.99. The images are all printed in black and white. This is a great book, and I received a lot of great feedback on it. I personally really like it as well. When stock got low, we definitely wanted to keep it in print. And we agreed with the author that the contents of the book did not require any drastic changes. The author incorporated some small updates and corrections throughout the manuscript from the information that he's gleaned since the book was published, which was more than a decade ago now. Additionally, we ran the entire manuscript through a fresh copy edit, thereby bringing it up to our current editorial standards. The more noticeable changes with the second edition are to the specifications and to the price. $70 is a lot, so we wanted to bring that down, and the original book was 9x12. That's where a lot of that price comes from, and that's a large book, and it didn't necessarily need to be that large of a format. The book does have a lot of images, almost 400, but it had a lot of words as well, over 200,000. And that's a lot of reading, so a handier trim size does make sense. Uncoated paper as well. That glossy stock on the original is great for photo reproduction, but that bit of extra reflectiveness is going to cause a bit of extra eye fatigue. It is, of course, a trade-off. The images are a little crisper on the glossy stock in the first edition than they are on the uncoated stock in the second edition. But interestingly, some of the original image files were in color, and they were batch converted to grayscale for the first edition. For the second edition, we went with the full original color throughout. So although you are getting a little bit less sharpness, you do gain color with the second edition. So we changed the paper and we switched the size to 7x10. That smaller trim size did result in a significant increase to the page count from 320 to 480 pages. But overall, even in hardcover, with a very nice textured case wrap with color green printing on it and a jacket and full color interior, we were able to reduce the MSRP from $69.99 in the original to $45 for the second edition. And I get that $45 still isn't cheap, but I do feel that the difference is enough to be meaningful. As you can see, the second edition has a completely redesigned jacket with this very striking photo of Luke on the cover. And the painting, which appears on the front cover of the first edition, is now on the back cover of the second edition. Additionally, the interior layout was completely redone from scratch. And the text has been reflowed to be single column rather than the two-column layout of the original. And the font is actually a little larger and a little more spaced out in the second edition compared to the first edition. And all of this is intended to increase the readability and reduce eye fatigue. There are more little tweaks, but I think I've covered the key differences. As you can tell, quite a bit of work went into this. And our goal is to ensure that the story, which we do feel is important, remains available, accessible, and relevant well into the future. The second edition of The Stand just arrived in the warehouse. It's available to order now. We do still have some copies of the first edition as well, less than 100, So if you'd like that first edition, I would recommend ordering it relatively soon. Notice that prices on the secondary market do tend to go up pretty quickly on books when they go out of stock. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.